Okay, so I mentioned on Tuesday that I had a bit of an announcement, some news to share. Okay. For about 5, 6 years now. How long have you been training? 6, 7 years now, somewhere around there. About that long ago is when I took over and well, it was around then. It's when we started wearing only white belts and having white belts and black belts. And one of the things that has maybe been harder for people to see in that is that the ranking system, long before there were colored belts, is and has been from 10th Q to first Q, from first Dan and up, right? So you start on your Mu Q, you're someone without Q or 10th Q, thereabout. So your first rank is usually 9th Q. About halfway, you hit 5th Q, and that's a pretty specific and important time. I've got a handful of you who are very close to it, specifically. The distinction that was always made by my instructor is that someone who is at 5th Q, there should be no doubt that they can defend themselves, that they should understand material enough and be able to utilize their body to execute the material enough and be adaptable enough to defend themselves. And so that initial period of time, you're aggregating knowledge, you're developing your body, you're sometimes developing more strength, more flexibility than you started with. You probably are, regardless, because it happens naturally. You're developing an understanding of the way the martial art works, the way karate works, and how to use it. And over time, that develops inside of you, and 5th Q is a pretty big deal. After that, 5th and 4th Q comes 3rd Q. 3rd Q is really when that's, for some places, that's what a black belt is. Not by number, but by what our standard is you should be able to not just be able to, you'd probably survive if something happened, but you should be able to handle yourself well. You should know this material well. You should be very capable, very capable. And that stage, 3rd Q to 1st Q, should be a refinement stage where it becomes about what you're capable of, what you do, what works well for you. Taking all of that knowledge, boiling it down, and determining what you're capable of, while also probably becoming able to teach and grow that in other people. Okay, so specifically 5th Q and 3rd Q have always been very specific times, very specific turning points in the training. And then the obvious one, the black belt, right? First Dan, Shodan. But we already know that one. Okay. I have felt for a while that while I don't want people to be motivated for the wrong reasons, you should not be motivated externally. You should be you should be doing this for your own reasons, and that should be something that drives you, and you shouldn't do this to show off. You shouldn't do this to have any of that. Instead, you should do this because you want it. You should do this because of what it can do for you, what it develops in you, and what it means to you. And that was the whole point of wearing white belts, is that your training is yours. It's not for anybody else, and you damn sure shouldn't be comparing yourself to the person next to you, whether you think they're better than you or whether you don't think they're as good as you. Those are thoughts you shouldn't have, because you're all different. Every single one of you is going to have things that you're good at and things that you could do better, or things that maybe you'll never be good at. just isn't for you. You're all different people. So looking at somebody and measuring against them to determine where you are or how good you should feel about a person. Maybe sometimes you get jealous of people. Maybe sometimes you get upset or angry with people because you're like, why did I have that rank and maybe they don't deserve it? Well, at the end of the day, that's my choice. And there's a lot of things that go into that, and they're all personal and unique and individual to that person. Yeah, is there a set of standard things I want you to know? Yes. But your rank has always been individual. It's always been based on who you are. Okay. All of that said, kind of realized and maybe decided that, please, by all means, you can keys out if you want, or yeah. I've decided that maybe that was more for me than it was for anybody else. I liked what happened from it. People put the right emphasis in the right places. The training changed in a good way. Rank was left off the mat, and it was about training. And people improved, and they focused in the right ways. You know, some of you may have no idea that Cheyenne has a black belt because she hasn't worn one since she's been here, right? Because she set that aside when she started training, and I'm very proud of that. Very proud of you for that. I'm not proud of, has nothing to do with me. You did that. You set that aside and said, I want to train, and you started training, right? And if you didn't know that about her, that's good, right? Because it's something that it was never about you. It wasn't about whether or not you knew it, right? It was about her. It was about her journey. It means something to her because of where it came from. It means something because of what she invested to have it. And we all have that. Every rank that you have, every knowledge or experience that you have is yours, and it's something that you've done. And who cares what anybody else thinks? Because today I could take your belt away and that changes nothing. Who you are and what you're capable of changes zero. But all of that said, I'm making a change. Because while that's my outlook, and I hope that it continues to be people's outlook, there are other elements of rank and grading that I think I've taken from people by not having that. Hopefully I've given something by not having that, but not everybody's me. Not everybody's motivated the way that I am. Not everybody is that way. So today I'm making a change. And that change is to bring back colored belts. Okay? But only 2. In the old style, we had a few more than that. 5th cue. As it always was and it always has been in our style, as it's been a green belt. I already described 5th cue is a pretty important moment, and very few people, at least in this school, generally make it there. Okay? 3rd cue. Even more difficult. And 3rd through 1st, the numbers drop significantly, the people who wear one of these. And then, of course, there's the black belt. I think you should be proud of what you do. I think you should be proud of what you've done, what you've earned, what you've invested. I think it's pretty cool when other people get excited for you and not measure themselves against you, not judge you by what you wear, not judge themselves by the fact that you wear that and maybe theirs is different. But celebrate you. Celebrate the things you did, the work that you've done, the effort you've put in, and do that. And if you happen to be here when somebody is promoted, you get to celebrate with that person. But one thing that's been missing is it's hard for people to celebrate you if they weren't there that night. And maybe you want to celebrate with that too. And sometimes people have been promoted privately because maybe they're only the one there that night, or their testing was done privately. And for now, the black belt's the only one that had that ability to be known the next time someone saw you. So I've decided that while I made the decision for reasons that I have not changed on, that maybe I'd rather have for you something different. And that's why we're here. The other change that's making, there's only 2 belts, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have something in the way. So stripes will also be something. While you wear that white belt, there will be 4 stripes before your green belt. Okay. For the people here and the people who are not here tonight, we'll get you stripes and things so that effective immediately you will do that. For a handful of people on the mat, as of this change, you'll be the first people to wear one of these if you accomplish that. Okay. Currently, there's only a couple people on the mat with one of these. Only one for a while, but we've got a familiar face back. I'm pretty excited to see as well. And so that's coming too. So right now there's not a lot of changes to make, but the change itself in the structure and maybe what you can be looking forward to, maybe what I hope that you're proud of, proud but not boastful. This is a recognition, not a bragging right. Okay? If I'm honest, the struggle for me has been twofold. One, I don't want to bring back bragging rights and judgment. And if I'm honest, if I feel like it goes that way, I'm not afraid to make the change back. But I don't think it will. I know you guys, and I think that you're here for the right reasons. I have a different struggle, and it's one that Ben and I have talked about, which is that if you've been here long enough, you've worn that white belt a long time. And there's a bit of pride in that. And there's a bit of pride for me to say we have a system that only has a white belt. I was proud of that. So maybe this is a reminder to you to never let pride be a reason that you do things. Okay? Be proud of what you do, but do them for the reasons they need done, not because you're proud of it. Does that make sense? So while I'm proud that this is the way that our school has ran, to not make a change that I think needs made because I don't want to give up my pride is the wrong choice. So hopefully I'm showing you that it's important to make the right choice, even if it's not what you want. Make the right choice. Okay? Yeah. That's all I have to say about that. There's maybe more, but maybe that's enough. If any of you have questions, if you have questions that come up on any of this stuff, and of course, at the end of class, we circle up to talk. That's what that is about, is questions. But by all means, if you have questions or you have questions that you don't want to speak about in front of the group, you can always talk to me. Okay? But how about now we get out of Cezanne and we do some training? はい。どうもありがとうございました。